Vote for the affirmative.
All right, that's unanimous. Done.
General Haig did a good job.
Did my bill pass?
Your bill has passed the committee. Now you get to go play in the Rules Committee.
Does this bill have anything to do with death?
I'm trying to speed it up here for him.
He did good. Thank you, there,
Matt,
Mr.
I know how
Chair.
you feel on the floor this morning.
All right, Senate Bill 33. Senator Kirkpatrick, if you would like to present, please, you may do it your choice, the witness chair, number 2, or the podium.
I think at this time of the day, I'll choose to sit down.
All right. Yeah, this is the time of the legislative session as we're all racing towards crossover day that we're all jumping from committee to committee.
Thank you,
Proceed.
Mr.
We'll give you
Chair.
time.
I'm working from LC 550524S.
All right, that's committee sub. That is in our packet.
Okay, so as a physician, I work a lot on public safety issues, which is why I brought a similar bill last year that was voted out of this committee. What has changed since last year is that we passed Senate Bill 494, which requires testing of Delta-9 THC products from hemp, but does not address other intoxicating cannabinoids like Delta-8. We have very reputable processors of these hemp products around the state that are already doing the right thing by testing and labeling their products. However, many of the products that are being sold in gas stations, convenience stores, and smoke shops are not Georgia-grown and are from China and other countries. These intoxicating cannabinoids appear in trace amounts in the plant, and they're then treated with chemicals to enhance their strength, which may include solvents, heavy metals, and other contaminants. I've been trying to work with the Department of Agriculture since day 40 last year to come up with a solution to this issue, and to their credit, they have taken on licensing and enforcement of these businesses very seriously. The ones that sell Delta-9 THC products are doing inspections, confiscating product, and they've licensed a large number of businesses. They provided input to this bill, and I appreciate their help. Meanwhile, the FDA has identified Delta-8 in particular as a health risk, even though it was left out of the Farm Bill, and has continued to send warning letters to companies due to adverse events resulting in emergency visits. And the DEA still considers these as Schedule I controlled substances. The 2018 Farm Bill drew a line at 0.3%. Anything below that is considered hemp. Greater than that is marijuana. This bill defines intoxicating cannabinoids, and it includes a substance called HHC, which is synthesized from CBD. And I appreciate the Ag Department drawing this one to my attention. The bill also gives the department the authority to include any other compound that they deem necessary to protect health and safety. It includes these compounds and the total concentration of THC in a product. This subject has nothing to do with medical cannabis. It's simply the compounds that are not currently included in our code. So just to quickly walk through the bill, the heart of the bill starts on page 3, and it's the definition of intoxicating cannabinoids, which lists all the different ones, Delta-8 and so on. And then if you go over to page 5, it talks about the total concentration of cannabinoids, which means the concentration of all THC and other cannabinoids within a sample. And then on page 6, line 141, that's where the language is, any other compound or groups of compounds that the department determines is necessary to protect health and safety. And then line 166 defines the total concentration of intoxicating cannabinoids at 0.3% or less. So that's the bill in a nutshell. Be happy to answer any questions. You do have a letter from the Georgia Sheriff's Association in your folder in support of the bill.
We have the committee substitute that you submitted to me actually last week, I think, on this. Would you just explain to us the difference in the substitute and your bill as originally introduced?
It was just a numbering issue. The bill I gave you last week hasn't changed. It just was prepared as a committee substitute for this meeting.
All right. And as I recall, from the past, and it takes me a while to get it all back in process, that what that farm bill really did was limit the Delta 9, and that's the naturally occurring THC, the psychoactive component of hemp.
That's one of the components of hemp, and yes, it depends on the dose, of course.
Right.
But these other compounds that occur in small amounts in the plant can be enhanced to be intoxicating as well.
And is that what people have been doing to get around that definition, is by essentially altering or enhancing the other compounds so that they become psychoactive components that can get you high?
I believe that's the case.
So we're in a position that you could come back every year and you could add Delta 8 this year, Delta 10 next year, and it's like whack-a-mole. They're going to come up with another way to put THC, enhanced components in there to get folks high, unless you name all of those cannabinoids that you've done in this bill.
Well, and that's exactly why we gave the department last year, and even more this year, the authority to add compounds that they think are necessary, because as you said, the technology changes every year.
Am I right that what you're trying to do is just say, okay, y'all come up with whatever you want to, but all of them added together are not going to get over that 0.3%
That's right.
to be legal? Okay. Any other committee members have questions of the author? I have quite a few people lined up to speak. I'm going to not necessarily go by the direct order of the bill, and I'm going to probably have to kind of stop from having just, yeah, me too, ditto, ditto on some of these. But I have some people that seem to have made an effort to come here that are not hired lobbyists, that are folks that I would like to give them a chance to hear. So I'm going to kind of randomly call, try to be an equal amount of fors and against so we can follow this. Before we get there, and so everybody testifying can hear my concern, as I understand this way of calculating the amount of, let's just call it Delta 9, but THC in the products, is it's based on the dry weight.
In this bill it is.
Okay. So if I were to sit here and have a bale of hemp here, you could have up to 0.3% of that bale can be Delta 9 or a THC component.
Correct.
I don't know how many ounces in a bale, but maybe we're talking about an ounce of THC or 2 or 3 or 5 ounces. How does that translate into the product? Because we're not, we're not just squeezing together the hay left over from the hemp. We're putting this into gummies and other things, and we're measuring in the rules and regs the amount of milligrams or milliliters in the product. How does this impact that, or does it?
Well, it doesn't impact it for the things that aren't currently in the law.
Right.
And I think the department has promulgated rules and regulations. I don't know if they're final yet, are they? That go into more detail about how the dosage is measured.
Okay. So I'm curious, anybody speaking to let me know how this correlates into the, the effect on a consumer. How much THC does it take? How many milligrams? How much percentage dry weight, to where this goes from being what it originally was, a CBD type product for helping you sleep, helping your joints, all this, to a product that gets you intoxicated or high. Okay? So y'all let me know what you know about that, or let our committee know. Because is that what you're trying to accomplish, to make a product that is safe, that it's not a drug, it's a,
Well, that's,
as far as a
that's-
get high, intoxicating
That's part
drug?
of it, but, if people want to get high and they're adults, that's one thing, but not knowing what's in a product is a completely different thing. That's where I'm coming from. It's more of a safety issue about the products other than Delta 9 not being incorporated in the whole law that we did last year as far as testing and labeling and that type of thing.
Got it. Okay. I'll start at the top. Seth Harris, Georgia Faith and Recovery Collaborations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Seth Harris. I'm a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. I work with a male addiction treatment program in the Woodstock area, and I'm the head of the Georgia Faith and Recovery Collaboration. I'm here at the request of Jeff Breedlove and on behalf of the American Addiction Recovery Association, the Georgia Council for Recovery, and the Georgia Addiction Recovery Coalition. We support SB33. Thank you to Senator Kirkpatrick for her leadership and love for Georgia families impacted by the addiction epidemic. SB33 will save lives. It is pro-faith and pro-family. Currently, there are no age minimums for these products. It is inconceivable that anyone, for any reason, could, in good conscience, oppose the legislation to send a powerful message that we will not tolerate any scenario where adults sell for profit dangerous products to minor children. It is one thing to allow legal adults to make an informed decision, but everyone involved in the profit pipeline of these products should be up here today voluntarily asking you to support this important legislation. Please protect the children of Georgia. The message out of Washington, D.C. is restore common sense to government. This legislation is a bipartisan common sense bill. Keep potentially deadly THC products out of the hands of Georgia children. Recovery is real. Thank you.
Any questions from committee members? All right, thank you very much and appreciate the concise nature of your comments. Aaron Jimenez, Classic Sativa.
Hi, my name is Aaron Jimenez. I live in Athens, Georgia, and I've been working in the hemp industry since June 2021. I'm here to speak on SB33, specifically to say that it will cause more problems than it would solve, much like SB 494 did last year. Specifically, the main two problems is that you're attempting to regulate federally compliant products and you're attempting to regulate individual cannabinoids like Delta 8 in this case, and the plant actually has hundreds of cannabinoids. So you asked what we know about different cannabinoids and regulating them, what's psychotropic or psychoactive and what's not. So I'm just going to scrap everything I had and I'm going to answer your question. The thing is that the plant naturally produces so many of these compounds, so many that we have no idea yet how many. CBD is naturally produced by the plant. It will not get you high. You can be relaxed, you will not be high. However, THC and all of the different versions of it, Delta 9, Delta 8, 10, 11, if you give me enough time, I can rattle on all day. They are intoxicating to varying degrees. Not only they themselves are intoxicating, but it depends on the person. And so the issue is when you try to regulate these things, as you mentioned, individually, then the industry is just going to shift. Bad players are going to get in a lab and they're going to synthesize different ones from CBD, from different things, because that's possible. And then you'll be back here wasting time next year on other individual cannabinoids only to keep chasing the dog. So the issue is also that people are going out of state for these products. They're federally compliant. They're shipping them into Georgia. Small businesses in Georgia are losing revenue, which means Georgia is losing tax revenue. Not only that, if you make more legislation saying, okay, well, fine, you can't ship things into Georgia, people are pivoting to the illegal market. The illegal market since 494 has been booming because 494 restricted flower, which now people, rather than going without flower, are shifting to the illegal market. 494 did a lot of good things for the industry, such as implementing age restrictions, which we desperately needed. Bad players were definitely selling to people that they shouldn't have been. And it had packaging requirements. There were a lot of things that we agreed to in that, but it should never have taken away flower. It should not be regulating milligrams on edibles that adults are consuming, because that just means that people are having to buy more bags of edibles. If anything, that's just making people more prone to diabetes because of the sugar in the edibles.
What do the edibles do? Why do people buy those from you? What's the reason? What's the purpose?
Edibles are easy to dose in that rather than hitting a vape that you have no idea what amount of milligrams you're getting in a specific puff or a joint, for example. Edibles are easy in that it says, oh, it's 10 milligrams of this. And the testing requirements that were implemented by 494 helped greatly with saying, okay, that's actually what's in it.
All right, so they're not buying them just because they taste good. Why are they eating these things? What do they do to them?
Different things. It depends on what's in the edible. So if it's a THC edible, not only can you use it to get high, but people use it for pain relief. I've seen people get off opioids by using edibles and different things from the plant. So people have their own reasons. People use it for sleep, pain, recreationally. It just kind of depends on the person. But everyone has a good reason for using these things. Like you said, it's not just that they taste good. Most of the time they don't, despite all the sugar dumped in there.
Well, it's confusing because we have a medical marijuana program.
Right.